Hi, I'm back, and today I want to share with you guys an excerpt that I found from Rupaul's What's the Tea podcast with Michelle Visage, where they discuss Nelson Sullivan's last tape and the aftermath of what happened to 5 Ninth Avenue after Nelson's passing. And I will put a link to the full podcast in the section below.
I don't like going back. Recently
I know you don't.
on
Why?
YouTube, I don't know. You know what? I
You
don't
can't
want to
even watch videos of
I
yourself.
don't like to do that. Although recently, I saw on Twitter someone had posted a video of Nelson's last video. Nelson was the guy who videotaped us in New York all those years in the 80s. You see things of me on YouTube from 84 on.
Yeah.
They're all over.
Your first trip to London when your suitcase was a plastic bag.
That was not filmed, thank God. But all the other stuff. But it was Nelson's last post. He died he had a heart attack and died the night of July 3rd, 1989.
What?
And this was his video of going on a walk to watch the sunset with his dog, July 3rd. He died that night, July 3rd.
Shut up.
It was his last video because he was known for his video.
Yes, of course.
So I watched that about a week and a half ago, and I hadn't seen it. I don't think I've ever seen it because I was there. Because the video ends. I'm in the backyard with Lady Bunny.
Yeah.
She's making hamburgers, and I'm in the backyard.
Some things never change.
And I've never seen it before, but I watched.
What did that do to you?
You
Did
know,
you sob?
It was. I didn't. It was. You help me with this.
Bittersweet.
English. It was sort of prophecy. It was
like a self-fulfilling prophecy for Nelson?
Some of the things that he said made it seem like he knew this would be his last post. Of course, he didn't.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Thank you, Michelle. You went to college.
I did. For theater, that was
for theater. Well, theater works.
useless.
Yeah. So no, it was so you could help me out.
Useless, darling. Useless.
It was so you could help me out in these
podcasts.
Yes,
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
But it was interesting because he said things that were like that. But what she
was
said.
he ill?
No, he had a heart attack.
Yeah, but he was so skinny and tiny.
No, he was just, he was only 41 years old.
Drugs?
Nope, no drugs.
So did it run in his family?
He smoked weed.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
No, none of that stuff.
So he must have had some kind of pre-existing condition, because at 41, dropped out of a heart attack on a slight man. He was a tiny man.
Yeah, he was probably 6. He was probably 5'9".
He was thin.
He was thin, but he was just in good health. He wasn't overweight. He was a regular.
That's what I mean. That's abnormal for him to drop dead of a heart attack, 41 years old.
I guess so. It was definitely
unexpected.
About it.
Yeah, that's
definitely
what I mean.
Unexpected. He was 41 years old. He was our ambassador. He taught us. He was like a mentor for us because he taught us about all these films. He had all the films of Tennessee Williams and Fellini and
classics.
Antone and I can't say that word. You guys know how hard it is for me to say anything with several syllables. Antonini, whatever. All these great films. And 41 years old. But anyway, I did watch this, and it was beautiful. It's great to look back, but I usually don't like to see.
See, I love it because I feel like it shows me. You can't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been.
Right.
And it shows me, oh my God, you really, when the moments I feel like I haven't changed at all, and I'm not learning and I'm not growing, I look back and I go, oh, of course. Right. When I watched the Nelson videos of you, I didn't know you at that point. I met you for the first time in 86. And no, I graduated in 86, so I must have met you in 87.
Yeah, 87, in there. 'Cause that's
87, 88.
Yeah.
And met you, not hung out with you, not kikied, but would see you. I see you, girl. Because I started with Suzanne in 87, 87, 88. So for me, seeing that it makes me fall in love with you even more, just because I miss those kid years of your life, and it's like, that's my baby. I look at it and go, that's my baby, and you were a baby.
Yeah.
And I know those parts of you, because when I first met you, but I didn't have all of those parts of you. So seeing it to me is rewarding.
It's so funny that in that time, there was a recording device that would chronicle all of this. And I remember I met Nelson through Dick Richards, and Dick Richards was my mentor in Atlanta. And he had a public access television show called The American Music Show that I watched in the suburbs of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. And one day I wrote a letter into him, because I didn't know them, and said, I'd love to be on your show. And he says, what do you do? So I said, I have an act called Rupaul and the U-Hauls, and I'd love to come on with my act. and do that? He's sure. He called. Actually, I left my number. He called me. He said, yes, come do it. And that was the real beginning of my career. And he just, Dick Richards supported me. He owned the record company that eventually put out my first records, and I was, in '83, I was in this band
before the Tommy Boy stuff.
Yes, in '83 I was in this band called Rupaul, and that whole year I was homeless that whole year. Not homeless in the sense of shelter, couch surfing, like kids do. Yes. And Lady Bunny and I would stay at all these people's houses, and we'd sleep all over the place. We were inseparable.
But how fun was that?
It was fun. It was great. We were partying and having a great time.
And that's the time of your life to do it.
Yes,
not in your 50s.
Absolutely. Well,
ask Lady Bunny.
Dick Richards grew up with Nelson in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
In Kenwood,
Louisiana.
Yeah, it's Kenwood, South Carolina. So when we went up to New York, Nelson was our liaison in New York.
From Dick. So
Exactly.
Dick put you in touch with him.
Exactly.
Oh, so it made you feel like you had a piece of home.
And then that house at 5 9th Avenue where Nelson lived, he lived there from 1978.
How did he make his money?
He worked at the Carnegie Music Store. At Carnegie Hall. Around the corner, there is a music store with sheet music. I don't know if it's still there. Where they would sell sheet music to...
Like Colony. Like the Colony music.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But it was classical. He worked there. He had worked there, I think, from 1978.
And he made enough to pay rent?
Yeah. He did. He'd worked there forever. And then after he died, I always had a place to stay at Nelson's house.
Yeah.
But after he died, I moved in with Larry T. in Lahoma, and we were paying $500. This is a 3-story house. We were paying at 5 9th Avenue.
Same place?
Yeah.
Okay.
We took over his place after he died.
Okay.
He died in that place.
After he died. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that creepy?
No, hell no.
Featuring
I ain't scared of no. Everybody died somewhere.
Plus, he was your friend. He ain't gonna haunt you in a bad way.
Yeah. And actually, I moved into his room. Yeah.
Where he died.
That
didn't freak you out.
No, hell no. I ain't freaked out. But you know what freaks me out? Stupid people freak me out.
What's your amen?
Stupid people are the scariest thing on this planet.
Holla.
But we were paying $500 each for a 3-story house.
$1,500.
$1,500.
You can get that trick in one night.
Oh, honey, yes.
$1,500 for a 3-story.
Yeah, I could find that in the car seat of it.
Was it a house?
It was a house.
In New York City?
In New York City, in the West, in the meatpacking. It was a federal. It wasn't a brownstone. It was a federal-style house. And the boards on the floor were the planks from the ship. They would dismantle the ship. The Dutch would dismantle the ship when they came over to New York from wherever Dutch people come from.
Holland. We'll go with Holland. Just go with that. Say yes. They come from France. Go with that.
They would dismantle the ship.
Dutchland.
And Deutschland. No, that's Germany. And the floor of the house was made. Every floor was made.
Did you get splinters?
You could. It was worn down.
That sounds so gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. And it turned into that restaurant, 5 9th Avenue, and I went there once for my birthday.
Did you freak the fuck out?
I went there with David Dalrymple, and we were having drinks in my bedroom.
And Nelson was sitting there with you in spirit.
No, in the restaurant. And he said, well, Rue, you finally got your wish. A full bar in your bedroom.
Which you wouldn't have given for that 25 years earlier. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a great story that I never knew.
Yes. Well, we lived there forever, and, because Nelson died in 89. I moved out of there somewhere in the middle of 91, at the end of 91, something like that. And then I got my record deal and blah, blah, blah.
That was 92.
Yeah.
That's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys again for my next upload.